What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so let's talk about Stephen A. Smith. Now, during this past election cycle, Stephen A. Smith had been adamant that while he was a critic of Kamala Harris's policies and a critic of some of her campaign tactics, and as he put it, some of the softball interviews that she gave, or lack of interviews, he still saw Kamala as the quote-unquote lesser of two evils from his standpoint compared to Donald Trump, saying that he just could never support Donald Trump. Of course, Kamala Harris lost, despite most polling showing her supposedly going to win the election. Now, since this election, I don't know if you've noticed this, but Stephen A. Smith has now sort of softened his stance on Trump. Has become more and more critical of the Democrats and Kamala Harris. He now says that he regrets voting for Kamala Harris. He said this recently on an episode of the Bill Maher show, Real Time.
He had actual ideas.
Exactly. And the difference is they used to say Obama was a celebrity. Obama became a celebrity because he was great at his job of being a politician.
You know the difference?
That's different. That's a huge difference.
This may get me in a little trouble. You know the difference between the Obama and Harris campaigns was Obama connected with people, and all the celebrities wanted to do concerts because they wanted to be with Obama because he was with the people. In the Harris campaign, they went after the celebrities to do the concerts to get the people. They got it backwards.
I'm just saying.
I don't know about that. Okay, let's be honest here. First of all, one could argue that Obama resonated more because the people chose him to be the Democratic nominee for the presidency of the United States of America, as opposed to somebody backdooring their way into that position. Let's just be honest about it. You had Biden. I know that you supported Biden. Obviously, you spoke about his mental acuity and all of that other stuff, but we all saw what we saw. Before the debate on June 27th, when the debate happened, and by the time that was exposed, it then waited 3 weeks after that before he decided to walk away, but it was too late for anybody else to get in. So Kamala Harris, who didn't resonate during the primaries in 2020, couldn't even get to Iowa, suddenly is the Democratic nominee. And then then you roll up at the convention in Chicago, and everybody's like, she's a rock star. So it was like, wait a minute, how that happen? How that happen? I don't know how that happened. So you're looking at all of those things and you're saying, yes, I voted for her. A lot of people voted for her. But in the end, we end up feeling like damn fools because we supported it. We fell for the okie doke, as they say. You know she did. If you had a primary, the likelihood is that she would not have been the Democratic nominee. And you can't say that about Trump and his side. You can't.
First of all, I know that we aren't the only ones that have said that. There have been tens of hundreds of people on social media, thousands that have said this about Kamala Harris. But just interesting that myself, the late great LB, Town Biz, 78, we've all been telling you this for the past year about how Kamala Harris was never popular. It was all media manufactured. How many times did you hear me say that to ad nauseum? This isn't real. This energy, this Obama 2008-esque, surge, and she's surging. It's not real. She was one of the most reviled figures in the Democratic Party, to the point where as recently as July of 2024, right before Biden stepped down officially, some people were saying to themselves, well, maybe in the party, the Democratic Party, we can get rid of two birds in one stone. We can knock out both of these guys, Biden and Harris, and start over. Remember the reports about Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer being a potential replacement ticket? You kind of saw them doing more interviews, and they were like kind of testing out the idea of them replacing them. They weren't popular. By the way, Joe Biden just left office with one of the lowest approval ratings in the history of approval ratings. I saw one poll that gave him a high of 38% approval, but I saw some polls that had his approval rating in the mid to upper 20s. This is the same delusional dude that thinks that he could have beaten Donald Trump, who could barely walk on sand a couple weeks ago. Remember I did that video? But anyway, Stephen A. Smith clearly looks at our content and parrots a lot of things that we say on here. It's just whatever. That's what he does. It's a lot. I mean, he's been stealing from a lot of us for years. Also, let me make this observation about Stephen A. Smith. I don't think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden now he's pandering to the right, because that's what he does. He's a fence rider. We've said this about him since he came back to ESPN. He rides waves too. But he does try to pander to the center, but he clearly sees the winds of change. This is the guy that said, under no circumstances could he see him voting for Trump. He said this as recently as early November, right before the election. Then, as early as maybe December, he started hinting, well, maybe I made a mistake voting for Kamala Harris. The Democrats, maybe we fell for the okie doke. Now he's gone full blown. Now all of a sudden, well, the Democrats tricked us. The Democrats ran a bad campaign. I made a mistake voting for Kamala Harris. Now all of a sudden he's open to voting for Trump if somehow he was able to run again. It's just all BS with Stephen A. Smith. If people can change their mind. Look, I used to be a huge Kobe hater, right? People can change their minds. But people usually don't change their minds within a matter and do a complete 180 over a matter unless something drastic happens. They don't usually change their minds on something like this, as far as somebody as toxic a figure potentially as Donald Trump is, in a span of 25, 30 days. You just don't. He sees who won. Stephen A. Smith knows which side of the bread. He knows who butters the side of the bread that he gets buttered. It's on the right side. Okay. We see who he goes on, what forum he goes on. He goes on Fox News. He's cozied up with many conservatives. And I'm starting to get an inkling now. I've always suspected this, but looking into his ex-girlfriend's past, who seems to love Donald Trump so much, I'm starting to think that Stephen A. Smith is a Republican, or he's always been sort of Republican, but he's scared to go full-blown because of what Trump is associated with. But now I think he's starting to become more comfortable espousing his true political beliefs. You know what I'm saying? That's just my guess on this matter. But, yeah, this is, to me, a calculating, slow reveal with Stephen A. Smith. I think eventually, I give it a year. Stephen A. Smith is probably going to be, if anything, I don't know about a full Trump supporter, but he's going to be a Trump apologist. That's why I see it going with him. I really do. And because that's just why I think he rides waves too. But about Kamala Harris, come on, man. We already knew this. This ain't nothing new. She was a horrible candidate. And we've said this too. If there was actual time allotted for her to go through the primary process, she would have failed. This was a coup she put on her former boss, Joe Biden. she set him up. Well, I won't say set him up, but she backdoored him. It was a coup. And it failed. You know? Remember, this is the same woman who didn't even make it to 2020 in the last election cycle. Her campaign faltered in December of 2019 when she was only getting 8% in the polls in California, which is her home state. And to me personally, I think that she's better off either staying retired and maybe doing lectures and speaking in that garbled, marbled word salad that she loves to use, which only seems to appeal to her supporters for some reason, and just make money. Or I see her ceiling as being maybe the governorship of California. I mean, she's going to win. If she runs for governor of California, I can see her winning that. I mean, it's California. She still got 58% of the vote there, even though that was the lowest percentage for a Democrat since John Kerry in 2008. But still, she'll win a governor's race in California. But if she runs in 2028 against Gavin Newsom during the primary, she's going to lose. She's going to lose. The only region in the country I think she'll win, that's just from just using your common sense, is probably the Southeast with the black vote. But other than that, she'll lose. She'll lose probably almost every other state. Maybe Hawaii. She might win those primaries. But, yeah, that's her ceiling, the governorship of California. And like I said, I'm not really surprised Stephen A. Smith has done that. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden now he's pandering to the right. But anyway, that's all I got to say about that one, this woman. Tell me what you guys think.